online learners. I'm Lindsay Sally, one of the course students. I just finished watching the two videos about the 21st century learner, and so using technology, my own Mac computer, and video recording my post. So, my definition of the 21st century learner would be a student who looks for instant gratification. I will be honest, both of those videos made me upset because all of them said, engage me, engage me, engage me. When do they learn how to engage themselves? I find that when I'm in public and seeing young children and at school, and especially in the intermediate grades, they have their cell phones out, their iPods out, and their heads are down. They're not looking around them. They're not interacting with the world around them. They have difficulty communicating effectively with one another. And after watching the two videos regarding kindergarten and the building blocks of learning, oral language, providing opportunity to build vocabulary, sentence structures, and engage in meaningful conversation, I feel that the 21st century learner is really lacking that step because they constantly have an electronic device in front of them. When I was a child, my parents took me to the grocery store and I was allowed to select the vegetable for dinner, and this is how they got us to eat vegetables. But we would go through the process of getting the veggies out. How much does it cost? Weigh it. Well, how much would it cost with that weight? What if you got two apples instead of, one, or three instead of two? And what kind of math does that use in a daily life, and how much more would this cost? So my parents were engaging myself and my sister in math concepts constantly during daily events. That was a very authentic learning for me. And also, they taught us to be very aware of our surroundings. I find that I constantly have to remind students to look where they're going when they're walking. They have a cell phone in front of them, they're texting, or they won't look up from a computer screen to talk with you or answer a question. I find that the 21st century learner, although this technology around us can do amazing things, and I'm not denying that, I'm worried about our 21st century learners only using technology and forgetting about human connection. I also read an article recently in Oprah magazine that said the problem with society today is that we forget to find the extraordinary in ordinary things. And I fear that this is happening with our primary learners. We need to take them on a community walk, and a half-hour walk could be only actually a 10-minute down the block, but you stop and you look. You look at the building structures. We use 3D geometry for that. We looked at the flowers using science and the cycle of life and growth and development. There's so many things in our environment around us that I'm worried that we're going to get locked into just using a screen to explore our world around us. So, my metaphor would be actually a mirror, is what I thought of, because I thought of all the kids and how every single day they just look at themselves and they see themselves and they make it about them. And I find a lot of the students now are very egotistical, and it's about instant gratification, instant need for them to be engaged by you. Well, I've told my students many times I can sit or stand at the front of the classroom and teach all day long, but that does not mean they're going to learn a thing if they don't choose to engage themselves. If their hand doesn't go up, if they're not participating in an open and active way, they're not going to get the learning. And I think the same would be true even if I was using a smartboard, which I have and which I do use. I still have students that aren't engaging because they are used to instant gratification, be that of computer games or video games or their iPod or their iPad or their computer. When do they get to engage me as a teacher and motivate me to allow them to explore avenues that they're interested in? I know that they're primary students, but I really feel like providing more technology might be providing less opportunity to speak with one another. So I see the 21st century learner as a mirror. They reflect back on themselves and unfortunately don't see a whole lot else around them. I don't mean to come across negatively. I do love technology myself. I do use my cell phone consistently on a daily basis. But I cannot allow my students to forget that there is human interaction and a world around them that they also need to be paying attention to. Sometimes we need to power down.